once after the rally, please do feel free to talk with them. So let's give a warm welcome, her first time ever addressing at a rally like this, TJ Magee.
Imagine on your drive to work every morning, you pass by a house where 3 toddlers live with their parents. And every morning as you drive to work, you watch both parents pull out of the driveway, leaving all 3 children alone for hours on end. What would you do? My name is TJ, and I was one of those toddlers. My story is one of abuse, neglect, and abandonment, but it's a story worth hearing. You see, my first 6 years of life were full of pain. My birth mom would leave for months at a time, and my birth dad would continue to work overtime, leaving the 3 of us alone in our home to fend for ourselves as early on as 2 years old. I had to assume the role of caretaker even as a toddler in order to ensure my brothers and I survived. I can remember many things about those first few years. Things like not wearing clothes because no one was there to dress me, or like reaching for jelly on the top shelf of the fridge that I could barely reach just so I could try to get my brothers and I food. Things like being completely alone and feeling utterly rejected by my parents. But 2 people who got to know my brothers and I through daycare saw how hopeless our situation was. Charles and Harriet Mosley loved on us when my birth parents' poor decisions finally endangered my brothers and I. They took us into their homes as our guardians without any financial help from the government. They just did it, even though they had already raised 3 children and were at the age of being grandparents. They moved couches out of their house to fit more beds and lovingly disciplined us as their own kids. They loved us unconditionally like no one had up until that point. While taking us to church, one of their staff members had a brother and sister-in-law looking to adopt. Mark and Angel Magee had 1 son and were unable to have any more children, so they began to explore adoption. Through connections at church, the Magees met us, got to know us for about a year, and then in April of 2004, they adopted all 3 of us. Wow. Yeah. But if you listed all that I would see and experience in the first 6 years of my life, some would conclude that's not a life worth living. But I'm here nearly 15 years later to tell you something that has been on my heart since then. A bad beginning does not determine a bad ending.
That's right.
My story is often used as justification as to why abortion is necessary, but is it?
No.
While my birth mom visited many abortion clinics to consider her options during her pregnancy, no one could have told her the amazing results of her decision to choose life. Not only did my brothers and I survive our childhood, we are thriving. Stephen and David, my brothers, both love our family and their country and are currently deployed in the U.S. military. And I am here before you living a life I could have never dreamed of. My chance at life did not necessarily mean that my life would turn out amazing or that I would not experience pain. But my chance at life was a chance to overcome my birth parents' mistakes, to make my life look different than theirs, and to pursue my own destiny, no matter my beginning. This is the chance every child deserves. But who saved my brothers and I? The Mosleys saved us because they saw our life had very little chance of getting better without help, and they decided to do something about it. The Magees saved us when they adopted us and offered us a new home, new names, and new futures. It was witnessing our pain that prompted the Mosleys and the Magees to help my brothers and I. Don't we all feel that pull on our hearts for others in pain? When we as human beings see another living thing experiencing pain, our gut reaction is mercy and to find a way to relieve that pain. It's why we give money to the poor, defend those being threatened, and why anyone would adopt 3 messy kids all at one time. A deep understanding of pain and our ability to empathize with those experiencing pain is a key indicator of our humanity. And that's why we're here today, right? That's why I'm here before you. We're here to stand for the millions of unborn babies who experience unimaginable pain from brutal abortions. Well, babies can't audibly cry for help or voice their pain, so how do we know what they feel? Some of you might ask. Well, science has given us the right tools to see truth. Retired Supreme Court Justice Kennedy, in Stenberg versus Carhart, relayed an abortionist's description of a D&E abortion performed on babies 20 weeks and older, saying that the unborn alive baby in the womb is torn limb from limb by metal forceps, leaving it to bleed to death. Science and ultrasounds reveal to us how babies respond to this procedure, and they respond the same way you or I would, in extreme pain. So I look to those who have authority to stop this practice, and I have to ask, how can you think this barbaric and violent practice is okay and allow it to continue? We refuse to believe the narrative that a bad beginning determines a bad ending, because my story is just one of many. And we resolve to get out of our comfort zones, look to those around us in pain, and give of ourselves to help them. How do we do that? By having courageous conversations, by continuing to learn about this issue, and by educating those around us. My name is TJ Magee, and I am a young, passionate woman who loves this state. And with my story of hope, I stand with all of you today to say, we Delawareans from this day forward will stand with relentless commitment to protect the innocent, defend the defenseless, be a voice for the voiceless, and protect the most vulnerable unborn babies. Thank you.
So many of you can see, if you can see up at the stage, this is the size of a 20-week-old baby.